Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo. We're here at the South Park Center and I'm delighted to be joined with Michael with his movie Oshun. Let's take a look at the clip. Michael, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the New Filmmakers LA family, and thank you for bringing Oshun to us.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank you for inviting me over.
Well, for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
Oh, yeah. First of all, my name is Rhima, and the title of my short film is Oshun. Oshun is a story about a man who goes back home to grieve the loss of his mother. While he's grieving the loss of his mother, he goes into a trance or a dream and encounters a goddess. Where I'm from, a dream of a goddess is a sign that you're not alone. It's a sign that your ancestors from the other side are trying to reach out to you and tell you that everything is okay.
Yeah. Michael, your film is breathtakingly beautiful.
Thank you.
Story, I couldn't believe I felt like I was watching this unreal cinematic experience that I'd never seen before in this style of animation. And of course, your background is in visual effects, which we'll get into. This obviously is a personal story, but it's a story that looked so wonderful on the big screen last night. Where did the inspiration come for you in creating a particular story and then turning it into a film?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. Thank you for asking. In terms of the technicalities of the short film, the inspiration for me to make it a 3D animated short film came from my short time working with DreamWorks. So I took a break from working on visual effects for film and I decided to go into animation. And I worked in DreamWorks for a couple of months. And there was just this thing about like lighting for animation or rendering for animation. It's so artistic. When you're doing things like that for film, it's very technical. You're trying to light a human being. You're trying to work with black levels and everything. But with animation, it brings more of your artistry out.
Yeah.
So that just got me really inspired to tell a story that was going to be 3D animated. Then on a more personal level, there's just this thing about going back home to where you're from.
Yeah.
And just seeing everything different. He wasn't just mourning the loss of his mom. He was actually looking at like the place he came from and realizing how different he is now from who he was when he was growing up. So I kind of have a personal experience to that. And yeah, I just decided to write about that. And to be honest, that gave me the motivation to keep going forward because that when you have that personal experience, it adds to your drive. You're like, I need to tell this story because it's what I'm experiencing. So, yeah.
Michael, I've seen so many films, but it was the first film I've ever seen where I didn't actually realize at first I was watching an animation. Like, unbelievable. Like, what kind of techniques, how did you make it feel so real?
Yeah, I think that's, oh man, you asked all the great questions. I think it was for me working in visual effects. What they call a matte painter and a compositor. So a digital matte painter's job is to make a set from scratch. So for example, when you see actors acting in front of a green screen, maybe the movie was shot in Los Angeles and they're trying to make it feel like it's New York. It's my job to come in and make it feel like it's New York without the audience knowing it's New York. So I already had that background in photorealism.
Wow.
Because per my job, I have to make things real and convincing. So when I started on the project, if you notice from the first couple of shots, it was so real.
So real.
So I had to like dial it back because everyone was like, oh, are you making a movie or are you making like a live action film or are you making an animated film? Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, that's testament to your great skills though, Michael. I mean, seriously.
Thank you very much.
I just want to say thank you for making something so personal to you and taken us to a place that many people may not have been before, from a perspective and country we've never even been before. It was so beautiful to see it in this context, and the character that you created for us, that carried us on this journey. How did you go about creating him? Because I mean, I was in love. He gave us so much texture to what he was going for emotionally. It was beautiful to watch.
Yeah. As I said, like other things in my film, there's always two processes. There's the technical process and there's the emotional part. So in terms of the emotional part, writing the character was, I would say it was like writing myself, you know, imagining myself being there, because I did lose my dad.
Yeah.
And I just thought about what it would feel like to lose my mom and, you know, go back home to like do what's necessary. So it was just easy writing it from that perspective, and I could relate to it. And when I was animating it or talking to the animator, we could relate to a lot of things because we're both Nigerian. So in terms of the gestures, in terms of the expressions, in terms of the subtlety of everything, we tried to nail it to, like, you know, the very center of what I would have felt in that kind of situation. There was actually a part where we wanted him to shed a tear, and I legit said, no, I wouldn't shed a tear. I would feel emotional, but I don't think I might tear up in that situation.
I shed a tear when I watched it.
It's hard for me. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
But that's how particular we were about creating that character.
Yeah. It's such a I mean, the whole thing is spectacular, but when you take us under the ocean, and when you introduce this goddess, I felt chills running through my spine at just this presentation of how you orchestrated this beautiful character to come in to his life. Tell us a little bit about that journey, the importance of the goddess, the meaning, and everything else, because it was beautiful to watch.
Yeah. Like I said, seeing the goddess is a sign that you're not alone. It's a sign that your ancestors or your loved ones from the other side are trying to reach out to you. I said this before, even when I came to the US and I started talking to people that had been on, you know, some journeys like the ayahuasca journey and things like that, they would say the same thing. Hey, when I was in that moment, I saw someone, I saw like a naked goddess. She felt cosmic. She felt like the entire world. It felt like that was God in the feminine. And that thing was reaching out to me to say, hey, everything is okay, you're good, things are going to be all right. So I tried to bring that back into the story. From an aesthetic point of view, it was a lot of work because I wanted it to feel like it was underwater, but I needed it to be artistic at the same time. So, I mean, if you're really underwater, if you're that deep underwater, you might not see anything. But from a cinema's point of view, it's like we took lights and put it on set underwater. So I tried to make it very like vibrant and very colorful. And I did try to make her apparition like something spectacular. And I'll thank my sound composer.
The sound was beautiful.
Because he added to the magic of it all.
Oh yeah, the composition. I mean, it was incredible to actually experience. I mean, I was in the room last night, and you could literally not hear a sound. You know, people were just in it. What was so amazing? I mean, in a short film in 5 minutes, there's a lot of work that goes into making an animation. What was some of the challenges that you had in making this particular film?
Oh man, it's so tough. And I think I would give this advice to all filmmakers. You go through that emotional cycle of change where at first you have the uninformed optimism, then you have the informed pessimism, then you have the valley of despair, then you have the informed optimism, then success. When you first start, you're very cocky and egotistical because, I'm a visual effects artist. I can do anything. I worked in animation for a while. So you're like, I can do this, I can do this. Then you start. Then you realize as a filmmaker, you're a filmmaker with other filmmakers coming together to create something. And because you might have been so good in your parts, you think when you do it alone, you'll be that good. Then you hit that wall and you realize that, the whole process itself is difficult, not just one thing. Like there are stumbling blocks everywhere. So I could talk about myself as an animator, but just for filmmakers in general, I think it's just that emotional process of knowing what you're going into. Then when you start hitting stumbling blocks, go back to why you decided to make the film in the short place. And that's what I did. I had so many difficult moments that I couldn't say technically because I'll just keep rambling about the techniques of 3D animated filmmaking. But yeah, on the emotional side, just always go back. I always went back to why I wanted to make that film.
Yeah.
And that was my core to push me forward in the filmmaking process.
Everyone is going to leave with something different from your film. I love how you've taken it from a perspective that you can relate to, but the spirituality in your film was so magnificent, and anyone that's gone through any form of loss can universally relate, understand from watching your film. And I'm just curious for you, what did you want your audience to take from your film?
I just wanted to put a personal feeling and experience out there. That's the beautiful thing about art. There was an interview with Rick Rubin recently where he said, when you're making something, you make it for yourself, and you just expect that the audience takes what they can take from it. So to be honest, I'm not pushing for my audience to take anything. I did make that film for myself. And it's funny now that I meet people and they're like, hey, I understand what it is to go back home and just, look at where you grew up. Some people would tell me, hey, I've had a dream of a goddess before. Some people would tell me things like, I just loved seeing a Black animated film out there of maybe something that was close to Disney or Pixar.
Yeah.
So I'm still learning what the audiences are taking from it, but I don't think I set out to make the audience get anything from the movie. I set it out to make something from myself.
I love that. Well, you've given us all something special to take away from. I'm still thinking about your film, and I wish it was, I want more. I really want more. It was so special having your film part of NewFilmmakers LA. It was part of our celebration of a Black cinema in focus program as well. And it was so great to see a film that was from Nigeria here in Los Angeles, part of the United States, and seeing this character unwind, on our screens. What was that experience like last night for you?
Oh man, it was emotional for me. Like I was silent with the rest of the audience.
Yeah.
At first, although I'd gotten that reaction from my friends, there's this thing where silent means you start thinking like, is it good? Is it bad? So when the audience was like very, very silent, especially on the underwater part, in my mind I kept thinking, hey, do they like it? But just seeing the scale of how everything is projected, and this is your personal work. Like I worked on it throughout COVID, and it was just me in front of a computer just grinding, and it was a relationship between me and my monitor, which is like big. Then imagine you getting to see it on a big screen cinema, and you start seeing some of your little flaws here and there, but we all love. I cherished that experience, and the other filmmakers that were there, just seeing the quality of other films, it made me appreciate that I was picked for this focus, because my peers that showcased their films yesterday, they also did an amazing job. So it was just a really, really good feeling knowing that, hey, I'm part of these amazing people. Absolutely. No, you had an incredible group of people, of filmmakers. I know. It was like amazing to see you all there together, just supporting each other so well as well. I feel like Michael's got a little British twang, which I'm very excited about. But you're from like the capital of Africa when it comes to film as well. It's a buzzing filmmaking country as well. Have you got plans to make films back there as well, or bring them here? Oh yeah. I have plans to make more Afrocentric films, because we can't. These big studios out there, they only have like a movie or two to release every year. So I feel like it's up to us to take it upon ourselves to make short films, to showcase the there's diversity in the Black narrative itself. There are people from Africa, there are people from Jamaica, there are people from the Caribbean, and they all have something to say. There are people from here in the United States, even between Compton and down to Brooklyn in New York, the narrative is completely different. So I just want to add to that, and I would be doing more Afrocentric movies in the future. I don't know the capacity of which I would work with the Nigerian film industry, but I do know that I want to make Nigerian films.
Oh, can you keep bringing them back to us, please?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
we
want it all. We're just getting started. What is next for you? What are you next working on, Michael?
Yeah, so Oshun is meant to be part of an anthology. I love animated anthologies. There's this thing on Netflix called Love, Death, and Robots. So it's just an anthology of different animated movies. So I'm doing my next one. It's called Lords of Sunset Sidewalks. It's about a group of homeless people that just create a space during COVID on the pavement, on the sidewalk, and they call it home. And it's just fascinating how that reflects home for them, the way we think of our individual spaces as home. So it's still in pre-production right now, but I'm really, really excited for it. As like my other project is going to be 3D animated. So it's going to give me that chance to be like colorful, and it to have a lot of flair, and it to have a lot of just, just something vibrant. And so I really look forward to it.
Yeah, well, I just keep bringing them to us because I can't wait to see your next project. But seriously, thank you for bringing your film to us. You're so super talented, and I can't wait to see more of the anthology and everything else. But welcome to the new Filmmakers LA family. We'll never let you go now. That's it.
That's flattering. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words. And thanks for yesterday. I think you made us feel very comfortable, and you asked the right questions. So us now. So I appreciate you taking your time for this interview and just making me have a good time.
Thank you, Michael. Can't do it without you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.